Welcome back. I said welcome back.
Yep.
My beanie's playing for half a second while I got my list out.
How do I... There we go.
Star Wars movies ranked is what we're going to talk about today. And these are my personal Star Wars movies. We talked about it in the last episode. I really want to emphasize this again. When I say that these are my favorite Star Wars movies, or this is my order, I do not mean that I think that they're like technically better, if that makes sense. Like I think some of them like have bad moments, but it's my enjoyment really of the films. Which films I enjoy the most to the least. So what order should I go in? Should I go from least favorite to favorite, or favorite to least favorite?
Least favorite to favorite.
Alright, my least favorite is Attack of the Clones. This is what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Where would you rank it?
I think.
By the way, I've included Solo and Rogue One.
It will be close down the bottom.
What do you think is your least favorite? I think you just opened the door down there.
Yeah, I just with the timer ran out on the after I hit the thing. I'm not sure how to get back down. Oh, apart from just jump, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, Attack of the Clones is my least favorite because I think that it's badly written. I think it's badly acted. I think that the CGI just got way too extreme at that point. I think it's boring. That's probably the worst thing about it, is that it's boring.
Yeah, it's pretty boring, yeah.
And what makes it worse than The Phantom Menace is that it's also long. Or at least it feels long.
Yeah.
It's longer than The Phantom Menace, and it just feels like it goes on and on and on forever. So that's why it's number 11. Number 10 is The Phantom Menace for exactly the same reasons, but it gets 1 point over Attack of the Clones because it's not as long. Oh. And also I like the pod racing scene. I like Duel of the Fates.
I like Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon's cool. There's little moments and bits and bobs I like in The Phantom Menace, but for the most part I don't like it very much. Number 9 is Solo.
Ooh.
I really don't like that film. And the more I think about it, the less I like it. And the reason for that is I find it offensive. As a Star Wars fan, I find the amount of shit that they just felt like they needed to explain. You've seen Solo, right?
No.
Oh. Well, the amount of shit that the amount of shit that they felt like they needed to explain just really pisses me off. They explain where he got his name from. They explain how he got the Millennium Falcon. They explain how he met Chewie. They explain how he gave Chewie his nickname, because that needed explaining. They explain how he got his blaster. They explain why the Millennium Falcon has a chunk out of it. They explain what the Kessel Run is. And they explain how Lando met. And funnily enough, they all happen. I don't think you can kill them with the slingshot. I'm not sure. Because you get the bow in this temple.
Oh.
I think that might just open the door again. Just so you can get out. But I think all you want to do is climb up that wall there. And that all that stuff just kind of adds up to really bother me. I don't know why they felt the need to explain all that shit.
Yeah, it's just the way it is these days, isn't it?
I just think the film is just really like dark and boring to watch as well. Like I say dark as in like visibly dark.
Oh.
So like grays and browns, and it's like just kind of unpleasant. Alden Ehrenreich, or whatever his name is awful. Well, he's not awful, but he's definitely not Han Solo. That's for damn sure. At no point in that entire film did I go...
Oh, is that the actor, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
At no point in that entire film did I go, that's Han Solo. Not a single time. The only character that I'm like, that's that character, is Chewbacca, and Donald Glover as Lando. That's because Donald Glover is a really talented actor. Oh. So, you know, I think you want to go to the other side now. So yeah, the reason Solo is so far down is because it offends me as a Star Wars fan. Next up is Rogue One, which I just think is, again, just kind of not a very good film. It's kind of boring. It's
a little bit more interesting.
A bit unnecessary to happen, but it offends me less. Because the only thing it really explains is how they got the Death Star plans, right? Everything else is pretty much its own thing. There are a couple of references here and there which are like whatever, but meh, you know what I mean? You've seen Rogue One, right?
No.
Really?
I've seen like the first half of it or something.
Oh.
Like the first half hour.
Didn't leave a good impression, did it?
I was eating lunch.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's just like whatever film, in my opinion. A lot of people dislike it. I don't really like it that much. I would also say this movie is sort of the line for me between films that I legitimately dislike and just kind of and go to actually liking. So this is probably the most bland film, in my opinion. But it's competently made, I suppose. So whatever. So because after that is my next film that I really like. Well, not really like, that I enjoy. The first film that I enjoy, number 7, is Revenge of the Sith. I've talked about it a few times. I talked about it last episode, but I really do unironically enjoy that film a lot.
So the best prequel.
Yeah, by far. I find it enjoyable. I don't find it boring. I find it entertaining. There's a lot of dumb shit, but I think it's. I just think it's fun
to be able to. Okay.
And it's got my favorite Star Wars character of all time as well, which is General Grievous. And even though General Grievous' entire existence in that film is utterly pointless, I still think it's fun. So that's that film. And then number 6, and this is bear in mind, this is directly in the middle. This is the most middle as it can get. The Last Jedi.
Okay.
And I say that because it, in my opinion, it has some of the best moments in the entire franchise, but also some of the absolute worst. And as a result, it evens out into the middle, in my opinion. I'm not in the camp of loving it or hating it. I'm just little neutral boy when it comes to that film. I can't pick sides of it. I really can't. A lot of people will hate it and find it offensive. I can't bring myself to do that because there are so many things that I really, really like. There are things that I really, really hate, but it just it kind of just evens out, stretches on both sides. But yeah. Then the next one above that is Rise of Skywalker. I don't know where I would rank it now that I've seen it twice, but it's nice save, dude. It's whatever. It's enjoyable enough for me. What? Oh, you almost did it. He did the animation. That's really frustrating. But yeah, it's still fresh in my memory, so I really shouldn't have put it on the list at all. But I thought it might as well. I enjoyed it enough when I first watched it. Maybe it would go below The Last Jedi if I was going to revise this film, this list. Film script and list. That would probably be that might be swapped with The Last Jedi, back and forth. Next up is A New Hope. I mean, it's a classic, but it is admittedly my least favorite of the originals.
Oh.
When I say least favorite, that doesn't mean I dislike it. It just means that out of the 3, it's I don't know, the weakest link, I guess. Like, there's nothing wrong with that film. I just enjoy the other 2 more. Nothing really to say about it, in my opinion. It's the classic Star Wars. I think my favorite parts of the films are all of the Death Star moments. Because I just love the aesthetic of the Death Star in general. But, yeah. I don't know. Next up after that is Return of the Jedi, which is normally what a lot of people's least favorite of the original is. But the thing that really sells it for me is, like, I really love the beginning and I really love the end. The middle is whatever. The middle is good. It's like, Ewoks and shit. But the beginning with all of Jabba's palace and barge and everything, I love all of that. And the end with the throne room, that's like the greatest Star Wars scene in all time, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Next is Empire Strikes Back, which I actually think is the best film. Not my personal favorite, but I think it's the best one of them all. It's an extremely well-written and well-made film. Everything about it is borderline perfect.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And then number 1, The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And that is just my pure enjoyment factor of the film.
Yeah.
Every single time I watch that film, I love it.
Yeah.
I have a huge grin ear to ear. When I first saw it in theaters, because I watched it day 1, my expectations were sky high, and it still managed to surpass it. I came out smiling greater than I went in. It was so much fun. And it's almost disappointing to watch it now just because I enjoy it so much. It's like, man, I can't wait to see where this goes. And then I remember how it goes. I'm like, I always watch it and I kind of go like, man, I kind of wish that like that's the film that like I thought was such a great start. I kind of wish that the whole series went in a different direction after that point than it did. But oh well, it is what it is, I guess. So yeah, that's my list of all my Star Wars movies, right? And again, I don't think The Force Awakens is the best film, but it's just the one I enjoy the most. You know, a lot of people, you know, I've actually seen it be at the bottom of some people's lists. I don't really understand that.
Yeah.
But, you know, the biggest complaint I see people make about it is, like, it's too similar to A New Hope. But, like...
That's what I said about Force Awakens.
I don't really care, though, is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's a deal breaker for some, but for me, it's just, like, meh. Like,
Hope's good.
It doesn't bother me at all. Do you want me to take over again, by the way? I've now finished my list. You did well.
Yeah.
You got the second key piece.
Yeah, I did.
The only mistakes that you made was on that rotating bridge, but that's because that's a puzzle. And
it was pretty difficult there.
Yeah, my beanie was playing that whole time.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at my phone. What do you think of my list? Any things that you vividly disagree with, even though you're unable to disagree with it because it's a fucking personal list about my personal favourites?
I don't think I'd put Force Awakens as the best, but I'd say it's up there for me.
Well, that's, again, personal to
it.
I don't think it's the best made film. I think.
My favourite bits of A New Hope is pretty much every bit that's got Obi-Wan Kenobi in it.
Okay.
I love him in that movie. I love all that sort of stuff.
You like the weird noise he makes to make the Jawas go away?
I don't really care about that.
They edited it so many times.
Yeah, I think that's just like a little thing. I think you get a bit carried away with the memes and I guess like that sort of stuff with it,
right?
And the changes. I just like the stuff that hasn't been changed. The stuff that's in every single edition of the movie is the stuff that I like, and that's just like all of the stuff that Obi-Wan says, and then I think. I don't like Return of the Jedi used to be my favourite Star Wars movie,
right?
Because it's the one where like Darth Vader's mask is taken off, and that's what I loved. That I thought that was so cool.
Okay.
And the whole like I'll never turn to the dark side stuff. I think I like that as well.
Yep.
But I didn't like the Ewoks, and I think over time I've mellowed out a bit. I'm not fussed about that sort of stuff.
I wouldn't say I dislike them or like them. I've always been neutral on them.
Yeah, I thought that the idea of them being like, oh, they're like a cute, fluffy group of people that are technologically inferior to the Empire, and that's like to have the rebels and the fluffy animals fighting against the Empire. I thought that's kind of cool. It's not like the fluffy animals are attacking the rebels or something. I mean, that'd also be cool, but...
Well, they might have. If
they
translate for them.
They kind of did at the start. They were like, what do we do?
Get the fuck out of here!
But it's mostly just the Darth Vader and Luke stuff. I thought that was really cool in Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. But watching it again recently, it's just a bit more cheesy and the writing isn't as good as it is in Empire or A New Hope, and so it's fallen down in my hypothetical list.
Oh, what the fuck?
So A New Hope is my favourite of the original trilogy, and for the new trilogy, it's a real contest between The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, but like you said, the excitement of like watching The Force Awakens and all of the cool stuff that they do at the start makes me really love it. It's a great experience, but I think there was a lot of really clever stuff that was done in The Last Jedi, and I really loved what they did with Luke Skywalker and like his view on the Jedi and that sort of stuff.
Right.
And Snoke as well, and the battle scene with that.
And the throne room scene in that is like one of the best in all of Star Wars, in my opinion.
And the Admiral Holder maneuver, I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool they did that. Like visually, it was cool, and also it was cool in the story because you didn't really expect anyone to do that. Like they turn around, light speed, boom, wipe
Well,
out the
that's
ship.
what I mean,
That
like,
was really cool.
That has some of my favorite scenes. Like that scene's really cool. The throne room scene's really cool. I love the idea of the force connection thing. I've always thought was really cool, and I love how they expand on it in
Rise of
Skywalker. I love that so much.
I thought that was cool, especially at the end. I thought like where they sort of explain and they're like, oh yeah, it's like the twin Jedi or whatever they are. There's the mini boss.
Yeah, that really defeated him.
Yeah. I forgot that he was their mini boss, but yeah, defeated him and go, oh yeah, it was the mini boss.
He's just a little guy.
Yeah, little man.
This is what I mean. He's not even like an enemy. He's just like, I'm just trying to do my job.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be here, stop people getting through.
Yeah.
Stop people getting through the Darius.
But now we get the boner.
Yay. Oh, that means you have to go back through that middle bit and with all the fire arrows.
No fire arrows.
And take out. Oh. No, but no, there are flaming arrows that are shot at you. You don't have them.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
But
damn, Link.
Yeah, for me, I thought that. What was the opening scene for The Force Awakens? Oh, it was where the attack on Jakku. Where Poe gets the map from the old man, and he gives it to BB-8, and like the Kylo Ren and all that, they come down and attack. I thought that was a good opening scene. But personally, I liked how they just got stuck into it in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, you were talking about The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were talking about Last Jedi for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, Last Jedi is a bit of a weird
I forget how it starts.
I don't the easiest way for me to remember is where like what happens after it's a view of space. It's always a view of space. So what happens after that? And in Last Jedi, it's so muddled for me because there's like 3 different things that happen in that first bit.
What happens?
I think it's Poe and BB-8 in the X-wing. They're gonna take down that big ship, and I think that's the first scene. Because they start off that entire scene is so it's Poe and BB-8 in the X-wing, taking on the big battleship, and he's just taken out all the cannons, and then he comes back to Leia, and Leia says, you shouldn't go blowing stuff up, and then
it's the bombing run scene.
Yeah,
right.
So it's that big sacrifice that Rose's older sister does.
Grab this one.
And that whole thing. So that's the opening scene, but it's not as strong an opening scene as the Rise of Skywalker. I feel it was very straightforward in Rise of Skywalker. It was Kylo Ren's looking for the thing, and he's found it, and I really like Kylo Ren as a character.
Yeah.
Because he's so confused, he's trying to find
whatever
he thinks he needs to find.
I love his conflicts, his turmoil. I think it's clever.
Yeah, like, people think that he's just some whiny kid and that sort of stuff, but he just doesn't really know what he's looking for. He wants to find something.
He's got a really interesting dilemma. He's being constantly pulled towards the light, and he wants to try and be in the dark. Well, it doesn't feel like right.
The first thing in Force Awakens is he feels the call to the light.
Yeah.
Because of his family.
And
his heritage.
And Rey's the opposite. She feels the call to the dark.
I think it's just because it's a human thing to do. Because it's just a human.
She's got a lot of anger.
Yeah, well, because her family left her behind, and she doesn't know what happened.
She is like just a generally angry person.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when she first meets Finn, she tries to kill him.
Yeah.
So she's got that.
She's always got that.
I thought that was a slight overreaction.
You know, one where she scrunches her whole face up. Her default face.
Yeah. I thought it was a slight overreaction to Finn, but I guess it wasn't too much that it was out of place.
Well, BB-8 says, "Yo,
this guy's got my guy's jacket. He's probably killed him."
Yeah.
BB-8's cool. I like BB-8. But they introduced it's like the new R2-D2, but it's a really clever. He's like a little ball thing, and he goes around fast, and it's good for the new era, for the modern era.
And I like Dio as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a funny little goober.
He's a bit of a. It's like a really old droid.
He's got dudongos.
Like
That's the point. He's got dudongos on the wall.
Wow.
I think those are dudongos. I presume that's what they are.
I think they got something else. They got like another name.
Fire lizard.
Fire alligator. Fire crocodile.
Fire alligator. Is there a Pokemon that's a fire alligator? I feel like there might be. No, there isn't. There's a water alligator. There's a sand alligator, but I don't know if there's a fire one.
Yeah, the sand alligator in Gen 3 or Gen 4.
Gen 5.
Not in Diamond and Pearl.
Nope.
I thought they had. Oh, those are hippos. Hippopotamuses.
Yeah.
Hippodon and
Hippowdon's the evolution.
And
but no, in Gen 5 there's Sandile, Crocorock, and then Crocodile. Crocodile's fucking wicked, dude. I laugh.
Yeah.
I love him. He's a really strong ground type. But in Gen 2 you get Totodile, Croconaw, for alligator.
Yeah.
You little boys.
The timer went off.
Alright, next time I will shoot this bat in the eyeball.
Yep. Bye bye.